Good morning. This is a thrill. I just want to say this is a thrill to see you all here together. This has been in the works for a long time, and it's just exciting to see it coming together. I'm Maria Bergstrom. I'm Associate Dean in the College of Sciences and Arts and co-director of Idea Hub and part of the implementation leadership team for Essential Education. I want to welcome you to the inaugural Essential Education Symposium. This day is the culmination of over 6 years of effort and the starting point for the official launch of our curriculum in fall 2025. I am thrilled to see you here to celebrate, to learn, and contribute to the success of this program. So as we get started, I'm delighted to welcome our university president, Rick Koubek, to welcome you and share a few remarks.
Big day for Michigan Technological University. So those of you who know me, I'm not really prone to hyperbole. In fact, I should be a little more on the other side of that. So what I say, please remember that in the many things I've thought about over my time in higher education, we've saw a lot of exciting things happen. You see new buildings go up, new colleges happen, new advancements in science and research. But this event, to me, Maria, is probably one of the most remarkable achievements I have seen in higher education. And remember, I'm not prone to hyperbole, so it is truly remarkable. In fact, she mentioned, right, like we started this Tech Forward 1.0, which was in 2018, and at the time, it was being managed by Jackie Hantoon and Dave Reed. Yep. And so what would happen is Jackie and Dave would meet with the faculty and they'd come back and they'd start talking about the ideas that were going to percolate into the Tech Forward 1.0. And one of them was education for the 21st century. And I clearly remember the conversations with Jackie and Dave in my office. And they were talking about, well, I'm like, what does he think that looks like? Well, there's some things that we need to have prepared for the students so that they can succeed, 20, 35 years ago. If they would have told me at that time that, and we're going to completely revise the entire general education curriculum, my response would have been, out of the portfolio of the Tech Forwards that we wanted some that were really high risk. That's not one of them. So we probably would have tried to talk him out of doing the complete revision of the general education. And I would have said things like, look, here's the thing, right? Do you know, that's a pretty ill-defined problem. It turns out, actually, if you go to my website, there's a presentation you all did, November 2018. It's called Preparing Students, Part 2. That was from a working group. It's November 2018, and there's a presentation that you have up there. And it kind of talks about where you'd want to go, but it's just a laundry list. It's a pretty ill-defined problem, what you're going to try and solve. The number of decisions you're going to have to make to get to that end is exponential. There's a lot of things we got to get done. You got 5 years to do it. I wouldn't do it. The interconnectedness of all those decisions. Wait, so engineering is going to have to talk to humanities, is going to have to talk to forestry, is going to have to talk to music and dramatic art. Really? Are you sure we want to do this? Okay. And on top of a lot of decisions that are interconnected, there's a lot of people that are going to be involved in making the decisions. Remember, it's higher education. We're a collaborative group. So then we have 1,300 employees, and even if only half of those want to have a say, that's still a lot of people that are going to be involved in trying to make that decision. So you can see why I would have probably tried to nudge them to say, maybe a base hit first, a triple, but a grand slam, I don't know. That wasn't the conversation that we had because, you guys kind of worked your way into solving the problem. And I'm so glad that actually happened. And I do get questions from folks by the way, anytime I'm in public, I talk about this because it is a remarkable achievement for Michigan Technological University, but even more so because the students at our campus get to experience it. Yeah. Hats off to you all for doing it, but you're giving this remarkable gift to our students. And if my advice to them is as follows, and probably back in 2018, I didn't completely appreciate what I do now. One is that You have to have, I've talked to a peer of mine, you have to have faculty that are really committed to student success deep down in their bones. That's why I say people come here, yeah. Research one institution, but you can still get to know the students. And I'm not talking about 20%, I'm talking about 80% of the faculty and staff that's got to be in their wheelhouse and center. Secondly, they've got to have a spirit of creativity beyond just their research, but also in everything they do in higher ed, which is education. And I think back like, now you got Idea Hub, yeah. Pavlis kind of, like when I used to talk to Laurel, that was seeding those conversations of not just creating a new curriculum, but creating an environment where we can continue to realize the curriculum. And we had that at Michigan Tech. And then the last thing, and I'm going to end here, is that you had to have, this is not a top-down deal, right? Certainly we can have an edict, we're going to revise journal education, and that's where you get barely the base hit. You have to have remarkable faculty and staff leadership, and I think our campus has been very blessed and fortunate to have that with Marika and Maria, and the number of times Kelly Steelman would come in my office and say, so here we're kind of close, right? We've been very fortunate to have incredible faculty and staff leadership also to help move this forward. So with that, I'm going to conclude and tell you that, so like Maria said, now all that's left is the doing. So here we go. Thank you.
I love that. All that's left is the doing. That's all.